Hi there, in this short video I'm going to show you how to convert Scratch 3 to JavaScript. So Scratch is called block code and it hides the underlying computer code that the computer uses to get your programs to work. In Scratch 3 it's a mixture of HTML5, which isn't really considered a programming language, and also it uses something called JavaScript, which isn't the same as Java. You don't really need to know that. Now, what if I want to look at the underlying JavaScript? There are a number of ways that we can do this. I'll show you one of the easiest. Here's a way to look at the underlying code. Now we need to go to this site, leopardjs.now.sh and a / and we need to put a Scratch project URL into the box. When you go to this site, the URL will already be there and it will have a demonstration number. You need to be able to just provide it with a new number from a project that you have worked with. In order to do this, you need to sign up to Scratch and make sure you sign in. Then when you're working on a project, the number will appear in the URL address bar at the top. So once you've put your number in, then just scroll down and you'll see a big blue button that says Edit as JavaScript. Click on that and it'll take you to a new site which includes the Scratch block code files shown in JavaScript. Now make sure you don't click the down arrow. If you do, it'll allow you to save the file as a zip, but we don't really want to do that. What we're most interested in is the JavaScript in the Sprite1 folder, because that's where I put the block code instructions. So most of the code we create in Scratch is stored in the sprites. Now sprites are the characters that we use in Scratch, like the cat. The example we've used is there for you. The cat sprite, Sprite1, moves around in a square. Sprite1 block code looks like this in JavaScript. So take a look. So when I click the green flag, repeat 4 times, move 100 steps, turn 90 degrees, and wait a second between each of the loops. In JavaScript, it looks a little bit more complicated, but it's basically saying the same thing. See if you can work out which bit belongs with which of the Scratch blocks. A couple of things to remember when doing this activity. You need to sign into Scratch in order to see the URL, which includes a unique number for your project. No one expects you to understand all of JavaScript. This is just an activity so you can see the underlying code. And Scratch block code is pretty powerful on its own, so just stick with that while you get some understanding of coding, and make sure you have a lot of fun. So now I'm going to show you how that works in real life. Okay, so I've loaded up Scratch and I'm going to create a new project. Here it is, it's called Untitled2. I've logged in as myself. I'm going to give this a new name and I'm going to call it Draw Square. Notice this number in the URL. I'll use that number later on in the other program. So very quickly I'm going to create a simple program which draws a square on the screen. The first thing that I want to do is I want to say, okay, when I click the little green flag, I want something to repeat a number of times. Now I want it to repeat 4 times, and what I want to repeat is some motion. So I want to move, instead of 10 steps, let's make it 100. I want to turn, instead of 15 degrees, I want to turn 90 degrees. And if I run that now, you can see how the cat does it very, very quickly. So I'm going to put in a wait which is under control. So I'm going to wait 1 second between them. So now when I run it, okay, I'm pretty happy with that. That's got the cat going around, but it hasn't drawn anything. So I wanted to draw it. So in all of these blocks, there's nothing called draw. There used to be in the old version of Scratch. Now it's hidden here in Add Extensions. So I'm going to click on Add Extensions and I'm going to use the pen. What I want to happen is this. I want the pen to move around with the cat. So I'm going to have pen down here, and then when the whole of the loop has finished, I want to lift the pen back up. When the whole loop is finished, I also want the cat to disappear. So I'm going to have looks and I'm going to hide the cat. So if I run it, here's the cat, he's doing his square, and then he disappears so that I can see it. Now if I run it again, notice the cat's still disappeared. Now I don't want that. If I put the show in here and then run it. Okay, so now I can see the cat drawing the square and then he disappears. And if I run it again, there he is and he disappears. Now I'm going to copy this little number here, and then I'm going to go to that site that I mentioned before. So I'll open up a new tab. I'll put in this leopardnow.sh. Here it is, and notice the code there isn't the one that I want, but I have copied my code. So if I go back here, here is the number that I want to copy. So I'm going to control copy that, go to leopard, and I'm going to just paste that in there. You can see that it starts to draw my cat. Now if I edit it in JavaScript, just click here, it will open up this new sandbox, and that's the index HTML. I'm not interested in the index HTML. What I am interested in is Sprite1 and Sprite1 JavaScript. So if I click that, now a lot of this stuff, as you know, I haven't put any of that in. And some of it I don't even know what it means, but I do understand this, because this is basically the blocks that I put in. Now with this, you'll be able to see the JavaScript and be able to work out which block code fits with which JavaScript. So you get a bit of an understanding of the underlying code within Scratch. Thanks for watching.